Hey everyone, future me here. After recording and editing this video, I realized I didn't do a great job at explaining some things. So before you get into the actual video content, I just want to say I hope everyone is excited for the new year. For me, this year is probably going to be my best opportunity for content creation, so I'm going to try to get videos out on weekends. I'm going to shoot for every weekend, but it kind of just depends on how some things go and how busy I am. But overall, it should be easier now, despite not playing UHC anymore. I stream quite often on Twitch. If you want to tune in live, you can find me at twitch.tv/themaplemango. But if not, the stream highlights are probably going to be the main videos and will be edited into the main content on my channel from this point on. But as far as the Twitch channel goes, I'll probably be streaming a variety of content on there. I've already streamed Phasmophobia and Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, sometimes solo, sometimes with friends. I haven't been streaming recently as I'm home for winter break, but I'll be back by the 16th of January and probably start streaming that same week sometime. I don't have a schedule yet, but before I went home for break, it was pretty much like every day or every other day. So, um, also, I should mention this is my first video using a new video editing software, so it might not turn out exactly how I planned or what I thought it looked like in the editor, but we'll just really see how it goes. My other one's been really buggy recently, so I decided to switch over and see if something else would work. And finally, this video took a little longer than I anticipated. I thought I would be able to get it out on the 1st, but here we are on the 3rd, and I'm finishing it towards the afternoon. But it took longer because I went like really deep into finding some old clips and getting some new ones on old worlds. But even then, some of the clips that I thought I found or the games I did think I had, I no longer do. So some of the videos don't have actual content, or some of the games don't have actual video content with them. But I think that covers mostly everything. So enjoy the video. All right, welcome everybody to the Maple Mangoes Minecraft game creation tier list thing. Probably could have phrased that better, reflecting on it now. But basically, what this is going into the fresh year 2022, I decided this is a great time to reflect on all of the things I have created in Minecraft over the years, especially now that I don't play the game as often. I would actually like to, but unfortunately, the internet at my university is a strict net type. It does not allow me to play online games or through Minecraft. I mean, like online worlds through Minecraft. Um, so I don't really have a purpose in creating anything anymore. It's just, I don't know. It's a little less motivating, creating something and not being able to play with others. Um, Not to mention not being able to test it, right? But anyway, I hope everybody's going into the brand new year, great and positive, and we're looking up. We're hoping everybody's hoping for a great year. I hope this will be a great year for my content. I know I say that pretty much every year, but this time I actually have a Twitch channel going. I have Twitch overlays, and I've been streaming relatively often. Twitch.tv/themaplemango. I haven't been streaming as much since I got home. I haven't streamed in pretty much like 2 weeks now. With Christmas coming up and the lack of Ethernet and just smaller desk space, it all makes it a little awkward to stream here. But after the 15th or 16th of January, I will be going back to university, and I'll probably be streaming a few times a week here and there. I think when I started streaming, I streamed like 4 or 5 days in a row right before final exams. So if I keep that grind going, things will be great, and Twitch streams will allow me to produce content for my YouTube channel, and it should be just overall a great boost for my content. All right, with that all out of the way, I think I am ready to jump right into the tier list of every minigame I could recall ever making. And hopefully I found some footage of these games somewhere, especially like the Xbox One games. I know the Xbox 360 ones probably don't exist on here. I probably don't have any footage whatsoever for them. But the Xbox One games, I spent a few hours going through old Xbox worlds today, and got some amazing experiences looking at some of those old worlds, and then some disappointments when some of the worlds that I was hoping to see weren't there. So if this video doesn't get out on the 1st, which it probably won't, it will hopefully be out on the 2nd. It just took a lot longer than I thought it would to get all the content ready, and I still have to go download all the clips that I got on my Xbox. But we'll see. Hopefully I can get you guys some videos of what the worlds were actually like. So let's go down to the first on our list. Actually, let me go through the tiers first. So first we have S tier, and these are the best of the best games that I ever made. Like, no doubt, these games were incredible all the way through and through. Amazing and nostalgic. It's like they're great games, and the nostalgia bolsters them, but they're not like the perfect creation. A tier is a little bit below that. It's like, it's an amazing game, not perfect, but it doesn't have the nostalgia. Either it's newer, it's just not nostalgic for some reason. B tier, same thing. It's just a little less great. Now, this great memories, probably not great game tier. Things that I remember like really loving in the moment and just enjoying all the way through. But looking back on the worlds or on the games or on the gameplay, something like that, the worlds were not that great. Just all things considered, they just, and then from there it just goes down. Like, this is just mid-tier game, like, is and these two just the world would have been better off without them. All right, so let's jump right into this. They should be in alphabetical order, which is okay. I wish they were in like creation order, but I didn't feel like doing that. So we're starting with amplified UHC. Also, the crops are terrible. I didn't know how to judge it, so that's fine. So amplified UHC, threw it in D tier just to start off. So amplified UHC, I do have clips on my YouTube channel. I think I recorded them with like my iPad, recording the television from like 5 feet away, and like it's awfully cropped, and I'm like 3 years old or something. Not really. This game, this was just UHC on an amplified world that I did with friends, and we were all terrible. And I think the final fight of the UHC game was like me in half iron armor with a stone sword, and then my friend in leather armor or something after like 2 hours. Like, this is when we were like bad at Minecraft. We managed to get through UHC game, I guess, but we were terrible. It was fun, but I don't really have nostalgia for it, and it was not great. It was just boring. I'd say D tier is honestly, it could probably go down to F tier. Really, this is just not a good game. Probably should have not made that. Battle Royale. I never came up with a name for this, but this is something I created on the Bedrock Edition of the game. And I was really passionate about this for a while. I don't have any footage for it. I don't have the world on my new computer. I could probably find a way to get the file over. But as of right now, I don't have anything, so hopefully I don't probably have the time to transfer it over. That kind of sucks. With that being said, the Battle Royale, I loved the idea of this. It was like Apex Legends combined with PUBG, combined with Fortnite, kind of. Like, the way the map was reminiscent of Fortnite, but it was just like a city map that I found on MCPE DL. But I really liked it. Like, I had so many ideas, and I had characters and stuff. Like, there was a healer and like a poison gas, and like an electronic guy, somebody that had like sandbags or something. I don't remember. It was all like using the actual guns add-on, and it was just so much fun. I played it like twice ever, I think, unfortunately, and it was pretty laggy because the actual guns mod had so much content in it at the time, and I didn't know about actual guns light. But it was still fun. It was, I had fun building it, but because we never really played it and I never got to experience it all the way through, it's probably a B tier. I wish I'd gotten to play it more and it had worked, and et cetera, et cetera. There was like respawn beacons. It was fun. It it was a good demonstration of how my command knowledge had grown through the years, but it was definitely not perfect, and man, it kind of sucked that we didn't play it so much. Bed Wars. All right. Bed Wars is another thing I don't have footage of, but this map, whew, this is when I was experimenting with commands for like the first time aside from UHC. And so like if you looked at the map, it was a super flat world with the chunk deleted below it, like just a massive gaping hole of void below the actual map. But like if you looked off into the distance, you could see the grass of the super flat world. And I was testing like bridge eggs and stuff. So if you look, there's like little streaks of wool that arc over the grass in the distance, and it's super funny. It just looks like a total mess. But it was okay. It was pretty much Hypixel's Bed Wars, except the shop was terrible. It was like you had a book that told you like if you put in 4 iron ingots, you get 16 wool, and then you would go to a chest and put that amount in. And if you place them like 1 by 1 or something, let's say something costs 6 iron ingots, and you place 4, you get wool, and then you just have the 2 extra that you were going to spend on the sword or whatever. So, and the map was terrible, just by the way. It was an awful map. Like, it looked garbage. This was definitely a waste of time. The only thing that redeems it slightly is the fact that it increased my command knowledge and helped me build better things in the future. D tier. Craft of Clans. Oh, man, this is not good cropping, but Craft of Clans was something that I made for the Xbox One edition of Minecraft, and it was really nothing. Like, you had to be in a party with tons of people, or with everybody that was playing, and it was really just me and some friends, and maybe my brother or somebody if we were playing split screen. And it was just Clash of Clans, but in Minecraft, and, like, everything had costs, and you would get, like, gold through, like, a tally system I was keeping on note paper and stuff, and it was just like not very good. And then you would attack people's bases, which would be made of like snow golems, iron golems, and villager defenses and stuff, and your goal would be to kill the villagers with your mobs, which were your attackers. Or something. I don't know. We never really got that far into it. Nobody really played it. Bad game. F tier. Craft Royale. Alright. So we can see a little bit of a trend here. Craft Royale was something I definitely got footage for today. And what it was basically Clash Royale, of course, but on the Xbox One edition. So, of course, there were no commands or anything, limited access to advanced stuff. And I think all it was like you would pick units, like let's say the giant, and the giant would have like full leather armor, but would have like an enchanted golden apple because he had more health or something, and like an iron pickaxe. And the iron pickaxe, you would mine blocks on the opponent's towers, and when you mined the blocks, redstone would set off TNT and destroy the tower. And then like you would fight other people when you were doing it, so it had to be at least like 3-on-3 when you were playing. And then like you would die, and then you would respawn as a different unit or something, and then there were like skeletons in the top of the towers that would shoot at you as you were breaking the iron blocks and stuff. It was better than Craft of Clans, but not good whatsoever. D tier. I don't have any nostalgia for it. Not good. Counter-Strike Block Offensive. Okay, this was on the Bedrock Edition of the game once again, with the Actual Guns Light mod. And I set up like a cash system where you would get kills and you'd get money for it. And you could use the money to buy guns between rounds. In my opinion, it was pretty solidly done. I really liked it. I had fun playing it. There was a bomb system, which wasn't great, admittedly, but it worked functionally. I think it's probably solid at C. I don't have any gameplay footage or anything. I think it was the Mirage map. We didn't play it very often. We probably played it for like a week. Never saw it again, unfortunately. But it was fun enough. It took a long time to build, but we didn't play it. So, yeah, C tier seems right. Ctf Skyline. Whoops. So, Ctf Skyline was a was supposed to build onto Azafai's OCN tournament, because his OCN tournament constituted 3 games for a while, but soon after 2, where you would have Capture the Flag, Search and Destroy, and Hardpoint, I believe it was called. I think the point would change. I don't even know what it was. King of the Hill, something. I mean, there was 3 hills, though. Maybe it is Hardpoint. Sorry, I don't actually know what the game modes are called. But basically, the maps, he had 1 map for each game mode, and Search and Destroy had no bomb, so I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe I could build something with this. And I was maybe thinking of inserting them into like a map pool if I was ever to do my own tournament, which didn't happen. The second time, or the first time OCN was taken into like the hands of the community after Azafai left and everybody had his maps and stuff, we inserted Ctf Skyline into the map pool. It was a little buggy, but we got it all worked out. And the map, it looked okay, and it was odd balance side. Like, I think it was red sided, but at the same time it was awkward for red to play the game. It wasn't designed very functionally. So yeah, probably C tier. I was really pushing for it to get involved with OCN, but looking back on it, it probably wasn't as great of a map as I wanted it to be. Flower Wars. Alright. So Flower Wars is something I used for the Xbox One edition of the game. And, whew. Alright, so Flower Wars was basically, think of Egg Wars. Not Bed Wars, Egg Wars. But every team had flowers instead of eggs. And you would just go destroy the other person's flower. They couldn't respawn. And that was basically it. What I had generators underneath the maps with like redstone loops and stuff that would just like simple stuff that would shoot out gold ingots or iron ingots or diamonds over time. And then if you went to mid, there were faster generators. And then the shop was just a bunch of chests with like the items inside of it and the prices. So like if you looked inside the chest, it would be like 8 sandstone, like a row of 8 sandstone, and then it would be like 8 iron ingots. And then you could just take the stuff from the chest, but the idea was a trust system where you would go and drop the 8 iron ingots out of a hole I made in the shop, which dropped it into lava. And then you would take the sandstone. It didn't really work with public games, like people would just cheat and stuff. But with friends, it was fun. It was my biggest project probably on the Xbox One edition that I completed. I made 1 map and then I almost finished 2 maps, but then Bedrock Edition came out and it was obsolete. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. I really liked it. It was fun, super fun with friends. Just didn't work in multiplayer environments, and therefore doesn't really meet the criteria to be up here. But it's not down here for sure. I mean, I had a lot of fun. All right, now we're getting into the Fusion UHC of things alphabetically. Fusion UHC Deathmatch. Fusion UHC Deathmatch was my first iteration of Hypixel UHC Deathmatch, where you had kits with specific items, or like special items, whatever you want to call them, that you like could craft in Fusion UHC. These were like Blood Sword and the Dice of God that I replicated and totally ripped from Hypixel UHC. And I forget what the other items in there were, but like there were very few. It wasn't to the level of Hypixel UHC, but the arena was small and it looked gross and it sucked. Yeah, the arena was not very good, but the gameplay was fun. It was my first attempt at it, and it worked solidly. I think there was like a potion of the Turtle Master that I had the most fun with. But overall, wasn't super great. But it definitely led to some big stuff in the future, which we'll definitely get into. So I'm gonna throw that in C tier. Maybe if it had a better arena, it would probably make B or even A, just because it was fun. But the arena was terrible. I might have a screenshot that I can post if I can find it, but if not, I'll be sad. All right, Fusion PvP. Fusion PvP was a massive project for a while that I never fully finished, but I definitely completed part of it so that I can actually put it on this list, and we did play it a little bit. What this was my attempt at getting Elo into Minecraft PvP. I know Azify had some ideas to do this, but it was never done to my knowledge, or I just don't remember it. And it was basically one-on-one duels, and you would beat your opponent, and they would lose Elo, you would gain Elo. I later developed a system where like it would use an Elo scale, so like if they were this much Elo, they would win this much and lose this much, based off of how high they were in the Elo rating. But that was not ever introduced to Fusion PvP and was definitely not ever played with. And the only thing I did was three different build UHC arenas. I was planning on doing like pot PvP and some other stuff that I don't remember right now, but I never got around to it. It was a little buggy. The redstone was whack. Like it was very janky looking and gross, and I don't know. Could have definitely been polished. I did try to remake Fusion PvP as a realm, and it was looking a lot cleaner and worked a lot smoother, and I really liked how it was coming together, but PvP as a whole just kind of fell off, and I didn't have the motivation to complete it, and I never did. So if I did, it would be great, and Fusion PvP V2 would be amazing, but I never got around to finishing that. V1 was limited. C tier. I wish I had completed it. It wasn't so janky, but oh well. Alright, now, the big one. Fusion UHC. I have an account called Fusion UHC with more Minecraft hours than any other account that I have ever owned. Fusion UHC was like the brilliant spark of command blocks that I took to a whole new level when creating UHC. Like, the Ultraviolet UHC era was the introductory era that I mostly modeled after Azify and figured out his stuff. Fusion UHC, this is where I started modeling for Azify. Kind of. Like, some of his ideas, he nabbed him. He won't admit it, but he did. So, Fusion UHC was a landmark. Alright, this account had been my main account for a while. I never really used anything else, no matter what I was doing. Just because I was on it so often to improve UHC, to host UHC. I had so many games. The leaderboard looked great. I loved the color scheme. I really liked everything about Fusion UHC, and then I ruined it. I ruined Fusion UHC by getting too in love with the crafting system of Hypixel, which would influence my later decisions. But going back to vanilla, like I tried going back to vanilla for Fusion UHC, and it didn't work. Nobody wanted to play anymore. It was, I don't know. But at its peak, Fusion UHC was incredible, and I wish we could have the era of Fusion UHC merged with something else. I'll try to get back into that later, and it would be the perfect combination. But unfortunately, that's just not realistic. But it is definitely a solid A tier. I loved Fusion UHC. Hero Clash. Hero Clash was something I developed as an experiment to get involved with command blocks. And basically what it was a, like there were characters you could select and then go into an arena and fight other players. I just bugged out my recording. I hope things are working. And so basically what you could do when you were playing Hero Clash is go into like the selection area, and you would pick like somebody like I don't remember, Captain America was there, but like I had these discount names just because I thought it was funny. So maybe he was like Sergeant USA or something. I don't know. I had patch notes on my Twitter for a while, so I could probably go pull up screenshots and you can see some of the names. I think Hulk was just Bulk, the Incredible Bulk. But they were essentially the same thing. And you would go into an arena and fight people using them. There were definitely some unbalanced kits that should not have existed. But it was fun to play. It wasn't really a big game ever. But I really enjoyed it for what it was. And it definitely led to some growth in my command knowledge. At the time, though, like people they would have their abilities, but when they would use them, it would target a random player instead of like the player they were closest to or looking at or whatever. So sometimes like you would drop like or you would use like a poison item and it would affect you instead of your enemy. So I didn't actually know how to do that at the time, but it was fun. I probably put this in great memories. Probably not great game. Functionally, it was iffy, but I had fun playing it, and I hope other people did. Question mark. Okay, now we're gonna get into Hunger Games Catching Fire. This was something I made for the Xbox One edition. I did get footage for this. It was a small Hunger Games arena designed for 8 players, of course, because that's what Xbox One edition supported. It had the spawn of the Hunger Games Catching Fire arena from the actual show or movie, and it was just kind of okay. It was my first project where I like designed the terrain for something. I mean, it looks not great, of course, but it was my first project where I actually designed the terrain by hand instead of just using like the default Minecraft terrain for a Hunger Games map. So it was a big project for me at the time, and it was okay to play, I guess. Not great. I don't know. I never actually really enjoyed it. It's not even like great memories. So probably D tier. Yeah, I don't know. Hunger Games Xbox One. I don't know what the MA is. Desert Spawn, but I know which one this is. Okay, so this map is the map that I was looking for. Like I mentioned in the intro, I was trying to find maps on Xbox One that I never did. This is that map that caused me to say that. This map was something I wanted to see so bad because, like, not only did we build the Hunger Games map, kind of, keep in mind this was like when I was using like the generated terrain. So I'd build like a cornucopia, and then I would just use like the base terrain and put things around the base terrain of the map, and you would just go around like a Minecraft world and find structures and chests and stuff. But this map, this was amazing. It was so fun to play. We played it so much. Like, I guarantee you could ask some of my friends, and they would say they got tired of playing this because we genuinely played it so much. And like, we didn't have random chest loot tables or anything, so it was just kind of like you would map certain areas out, chests, whatever, which I definitely did. I knew where some diamond spawns were. There was like 8 diamonds on the map, and I knew where a couple of them were, like a good path to get a diamond sword or whatever. There was so much stuff on this map. There was like a Greek Parthenon type build that I remember distinctly because it was massive. There was like a church in the sky, a Herobrine cave, a nether castle, some boats here and there, I think. I don't even remember most of the stuff on here. It was massive. The game was so fun to play. We played it so much. And this is probably my favorite Xbox One map of all time. But I'm going to have to put it in amazing and nostalgic, not S tier, because if I was to try to play that now, it wouldn't hold up, I don't think. But I wish it would. I wish it would, because this was the most fun game I played on Xbox One Edition. And we added to the map over time. Like, we would play it, and then, like, one day we'd be like, hey, what if we added some stuff? And then we'd go and build something for a few hours, and then we'd play it again with the new additions. And this is the map. This is the map where my friend, my closest friend, my longest time friend, he fell out of the water. He got the death message, fell out of the water. He ender pearled away, and it killed him. And his death message was fell out of the water. So that is definitely a unique landmark for this game. And I wish I had been able to see it again, but I don't think I'll ever see that map again, and it hurts. physically. Alright. Hunger Games and Portal Mutations. This one I didn't remember what I called it, but I found it earlier and I don't remember what I called it. Actually, this was on the Xbox One edition, and it was basically my attempt at recreating the Hunger Games that I just talked about after losing the map. That is all I can think of. Like, I think that is why I made it, is because something happened to the other map and it made me super sad. It's like the same concept where I built things around the map. There was like a giant crafting table and a crashed plane and some, I don't know, there was some stuff, but it was again like a default terrain world. And it was fun, but it wasn't the same. Like, it didn't match that, and we didn't play it that much because Bedrock Edition came out sort of shortly thereafter, and it wasn't the same as playing the other map, and it could never amount to doing that. Probably C tier. Like, I mean, oh, wrong one. Where did it go? I lost it. There we go. Yeah, C tier, just because it was like a substitute, a failed substitute for something so much greater. Hunger Games, Plane Spawn, Double Mid. Okay. So, this was just another Hunger Games map created on our default world. And we did this often, of course. Like every Hunger Games map we did was pretty much like this, except Catching Fire. And this one, I don't actually know why we made it. It was just something that I couldn't find footage for. And it was just another Hunger Games map to play, but we didn't play it as much as we played the other one, despite it being newer. And what it had was, like, it had the Cornucopia, and then, like, a little further away was a second Cornucopia, and, like, 12-year-old me thought, like, oh, hey, if people see the second Cornucopia, they'll show up at the same time, and then they'll have to fight for the Cornucopia again. That didn't happen. I mean, it was just like a free, like, 8 chests in the middle of a lake in the jungle. So whoever got there first would kind of just steal all the stuff and get super stacked. Not a very good idea. Not a very memorable map. I don't remember any of the features aside from the two Cornucopias. D tier. Cornucopia, or sorry, Hunger Games Gold Cornucopia. This was our first ever Hunger Games map we ever made. It might have even been Xbox 360 edition at the time. But me and some friends built a map where the Cornucopia was literally like the shape of a regular Cornucopia. So it was one-sided. Everybody had to spawn on the same side of the Cornucopia to get inside of it in a fair way. And I think we only built like 4 spawn platforms or something because we only expected like 4 people to play. Excuse me. And we had a mutation system. Not very good. Not official, not command run. But it is definitely the most nostalgic of all the maps, just because it's the oldest of anything on here, I think. But I really only played it with 2 people, like 2 friends. We played this map quite a few times, but aside from the spawn, I don't actually remember much about the map. I remember the gameplay here and there, but unfortunately not a whole lot about the map, and that kind of disappoints me because this is the oldest one on the list. I'll put great memories, probably not great game, just because I know it has a lot of nostalgia, but it doesn't hold up to the other Hunger Games for sure, and it being so strange, especially at the Cornucopia, probably doesn't give it any points. Hypixel UHC Deathmatch. This is when I took Fusion UHC and I dropped the idea of the custom crafts because I wanted to make Hypixel UHC. I didn't want to merge the two anymore. I wanted Hypixel UHC. So I quite literally made Hypixel UHC almost exactly 1-to-1, sort of. Like, I have a lot of footage on it, and a lot of you have probably played it. And it was a lot of fun. It was just like the shortened version of Hypixel UHC. It was just the deathmatch. Probably A tier. Like, you just got like a random set of armor and then like 3 custom Hypixel items, a random sword. Yeah, that's about all I remember about it. It was kind of basic like that, but Hypixel Uhc Deathmatch, it was pretty simple. It was a basic game mode. It supported 8 players. It was just like a way to play Hypixel Uhc without playing Hypixel Uhc all the way through. And after the Hypixel Uhc host started falling off, I definitely did more deathmatch than anything else. But I'll definitely get more into Hypixel Uhc later. But definitely an A tier game for me. Kit PvP 1. This was the first world I think I have ever created on the Xbox One edition of Minecraft. And Kit PvP was, think of like, it was pretty much Hero Clash, but like retro style. It's not like the Kit PvP you think of when you think of Kit PvP, because I didn't know that kind of Kit PvP existed with like the pot Kit PvP type stuff. That's not what this was. Kit PvP was the same thing where like you pick characters. Yeah, this was pretty much just like you would pick like an almost like a character, but like they weren't actual characters at the time. It was just like archer or fighter or something. But it wasn't pot PvP. It was just like, hey, I want to play this guy because I think it's funny. And I think I like an apocalypse character, but like it was just like somebody with full leather green armor, a wood sword, and like 9 stacks of zombie spawn eggs. I think we played it once because we didn't realize that Xbox One edition had autosave on by default, and we never played it again. It wasn't worthwhile. Yeah, F tier. Not a good game. Kit PvP 2. All right, this I got footage on, but I don't want to spend too long on it, even though it was a game I played a lot. Kit PvP 2 is like the same thing as Kit PvP 1, except a lot more expansive. Like instead of like 10 or 12 kits, there's like 100. And so what this was like there were different classes. Like there were mob classes, there were royal type classes, there were overpowered quote unquote classes, there were meme classes, God forbid whatever those include. I don't even want to know what's being referenced in the meme kits, like free Shavakadu or so that being said, it was made in like 2016, so that was all big stuff, probably like Harambe or I don't know, whatever's in there. It's probably gross, it's vile. But the kits, the biggest thing here was the kits. They weren't fair at all. Like there were some that were just busting. I don't know. We had fun playing it, but there were definitely some broken ones, and you'd have to spend like 8 lives trying to kill one guy. Great memories, probably not great game. Don't have any. Oh, I might actually have gameplay of this, but it's probably recorded with my iPad from 10 feet away, and it looks terrible. We'll see. All right, Luck. So Luck was the Xbox One edition take of Lucky Blocks, except not really. Think of like Sunday's Lucky Blocks, where you would go get materials and then trade them in for, I think he used Nether Stars or something, and that would be your currency to buy items in different battles against his friends. Well, that's what we did, except there were no Lucky Blocks. There were just structures around the world. And you'd go around the world and you'd find these things, like a giant golden apple made out of gold blocks. Or bananas hanging from trees, also made out of gold blocks. Or I think there was a rainbow made out of different ore block. Anyway, it was a lot of stuff. There was so much stuff on this map. It is the biggest map I have on the Xbox One by a significant margin. And I think I got a screenshot of how much storage it actually takes up. It's huge. But I didn't get any gameplay footage of it because I didn't want to fly around and look for this stuff, unfortunately. But it was fun to play here and there, but it wasn't very fair. I mean, you could map out where certain things were, like a mental path, and be like, okay, so if I go here, here, and here, I'll get so many diamonds or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was a cool concept, but Xbox One was limited. Definitely, I'm torn between C and D. I'll put it C tier. Just because I had fun playing it, but it really wasn't that good. Minigames World Xbox One. All right, this world had a lot of games on it. So we had Bow Spleef, regular Spleef, Bomberman, Parkour Race, Enderpro Parkour. There was a lot. There was probably like 15 to 20 mini games on here, and they lasted like 5 minutes each. I think there was Anvil Rain. So Anvil Rain was like literally just a game where you were below like a platform of wood with anvils on it, and like a fire charge would shoot out and start burning the wood, and the wood would burn and drop anvils, and it would try to kill you. I remember that one. That one was pretty fun. But my favorite was definitely Bomberman. The rest of the games on there were kind of mediocre. Anvil Rain was good. Bomberman though. Bomberman was like a maze. It was a relatively small maze, probably like I don't know, probably like 50 by 50 blocks or so. But it was a maze of obsidian, and below the obsidian maze was like a grid of redstone torches. And so when you placed TNT inside of the maze, it would activate. And your goal was to kill the other players. And so we would just run around this obsidian maze placing TNT, trying to kill each other. Super fun. Definitely the most redeeming factor of the entire world. The other games were kind of okay at best. Probably B tier. It was fun, especially for Xbox One Edition. Royal Factions. Xbox One. Royal Factions is probably the factions that I spent the most time on when I was into factions. I don't play factions anymore. I realized how garbage of a game it is. But I used to play it, and we made it on Xbox One Edition. I got some footage of it. I played it a little bit to see what was going on. Back in the day, I spent a lot of hours on it. But really, I mean, it wasn't many people playing it very often. Like, it was me, my brother here and there, and just occasionally some other people that didn't play much or didn't play often. Yeah, I don't know. Factions, I mean, it was fun for me, but really, it was kind of garbage. So we'll put it in C tier. I thought it was fun at the time, but looking back, it was a garbage game. But I did put a lot of effort into the spawn and stuff. So, alright, Skyblock Xbox One Edition. I had a lot of fun playing this too. Pretty much it was just like a world for Skyblock players. Like anybody could just come in and we'd just play Skyblock in a big server. There was like a shop and stuff. It was like factions combined with Skyblock pretty much. Like a shop and crate keys and stuff. Just to make it more entertaining, in my opinion. Or at least in my opinion at the time. I think I might prefer something more vanilla nowadays. Yeah, it was okay. We played it for a long time. We spent a lot of time on it. I got a really big island, really advanced stuff. But yeah, again, not that great looking back on it. And I looked around, and a lot of the islands that are on the world are like nobody made progress. There are so many islands though. More people played it than I ever thought had played it. But like the islands are people mined their tree or messed up their generator or something, and then like quit and never played again. So there's probably like 30 islands, but really only like 5 of them are actually developed. Yeah, no, probably D tier. Skywars for Xbox One. This map I spent a lot of time on after I created it, like a long time playing it. There were tons of maps. It was super fun to play. We got quite a few players at any given time. If I like created like a looking for group or something. I really like some of the maps on here. I don't know what to say about it, really. I mean, it was just kind of Skywars for Xbox One Edition. But it was fun, like really fun. I mean, I played it a lot, and it was great. There were kits and stuff that you could get. I expected to play it a lot more than I did, I think, even though I played it a lot. But, yeah, it was kind of okay. I mean, it was, yeah, probably B tier. It might kind of be A tier for what it was at the time, but it's okay. Yeah. Search and Destroy Fossil. Alright, so Search and Destroy Fossil was like the map was called Fossil, and it was Search and Destroy. This was, again, a take on Azafai's OCN, where he had Search and Destroy, except there was no bomb, so it was pretty much just like elimination. So I wanted to change that, and I just made a map called Fossil. I don't have the map as far as I'm aware, but I did make a working bomb, and I made selectable kits that you played when you were playing. So there was like a tank kit, and then like there were gadgets. So think of like Rainbow Six Siege, but on a CS:GO map almost, with like vanilla items, so like bow and arrow and stuff. But the abilities you could use were like, you could set up like mines and stuff as certain characters, and they would walk near it and it would blow up or something. But you could also shoot them, and if arrows hit an item, the item would like disappear with an explosion sound and like a puff of smoke. It was really cool, but again, I spent like probably a month making it, and then we played it for maybe a week. Never got into OCN, of course, and it was just kind of, it was fun but not great. But I'll actually give it a B tier just because of how much work went into it, and there was actually a lot of command substance to it that a lot of people didn't even recognize. So, yeah. All right. Moving on to Snowball. Snowball is like UHC Deathmatch, but everybody has the same stuff. And when you kill people, they drop a diamond and some other materials, and you can use this to eventually and slowly get more and more stacked. So as you did that, you would of course become a target. But we played this map a ton when it got like fully released and complete and whatnot. This is also the map where me and Smack/W Skid ended our rivalry almost like officially in a way. Like we actually talked instead of just hating each other for no reason. I think he hated me as a host and I hated him as a player. So like we just kind of like met mutually on this map. So that's a good memory on here, and it was a lot of fun. There's nothing really bad about it. It wasn't like really lacking in anything. It did what it was supposed to do really well. And I think a lot of people had fun playing it. I mean, people played it a lot. So I'll probably give it a B tier. It would definitely be a high B tier if I was organizing them by like their ratings. Like if I was sliding it, like the closer it is to B, the better it is in B tier. It would probably be above Battle Royale, to be honest. It was fun. It almost makes A tier, I think, just because of how much we played it and how much fun we had on it. But yeah, it was okay. Speed UHC Xbox One Edition. Now this took a long time to build because this I had to build a massive cube of grass and dirt and bedrock walls. Took forever to make, absolutely forever. But it was pretty much a scuffed copy of Hypixel Speed UHC for the Xbox One Edition. And like the tree leaves would have apples and item frames on them. And then your mine would have a certain amount of diamonds. It would have iron blocks instead of iron ore. And then gold ore would have gold ingots on the back in item frames. So you would mine the gold ore, and then the item frame would break and you'd get a gold ingot as well as the gold ore. It's super whack. So that being said, it was fun. I mean, we didn't play it very much. We played it once or twice, here and there. It took a long time to build though, but really it wasn't that great, and I wish I had done more with it. Yeah, probably C tier. I mean, it was okay for being Xbox One. UHC Champions. Alright, this is undoubtedly S tier. UHC Champions is just Hypixel UHC, but for Bedrock Edition, I have never spent so much time making something in my life. Alright, UHC Champions was something that took genuinely months and months and months to make. And I developed UHC Champions over like the course of a year. And it started off not so great. But towards the end, it was amazing. Like there was so much stuff you could do. Like you could, in the beginning, like for the Axe of Perun, you would drop it and it would strike somebody with lightning. But later, as I was almost finished, the Axe of Perun, you would right click and it would strike someone with lightning and deal true damage with the instant damage effect. It was incredibly done. I am super proud of everything that Uhc Champions was able to accomplish, because it is like the pinnacle of my commands. Like, I can't even begin to express everything that I was able to do that I never thought I would be able to do through Uhc Champions. And hands down, best game I've ever made. I know some people don't like it because of the Hypixel crafts, but from a command standpoint and a creator standpoint, this was such a landmark, and don't think I'll ever be able to create something as great as this ever again. Like, it was huge. I wish I would talk more about it, but like I would go too deep. I would go too deep into this. I just hope you can get like my emotion from what I was able to do. All right, UHC meetup for the Xbox One. What this was a system where you would get a shulker box, and then you would drop down into an arena with random items. Like, I'm thinking like almost entirely random as far as UHC goes. Like, they weren't balanced. Like, you would have your set of armor and your sword and your healing, but you would have like a random amount of buckets, and all of your armor and weapons would be randomly enchanted. So it wasn't very balanced, but it was fun, especially for the time. And you would just play it for however long the kits lasted. I think I had a rule called no bow spamming, which was like a joke rule. It wasn't an actual rule. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. That's about all I can say about it. I mean, it's just what it is, what it sounds like. Probably B tier. It's probably about the Snowball of Xbox One. Even though I could have made Snowball for Xbox One had I known about it at that time. Ultraviolet Factions. Okay, Ultraviolet Factions was a huge project as far as my factions went. This was for the Bedrock Edition. I used my command knowledge. I used like a custom editor program. I got custom enchantment levels on the stuff. I put a lot of effort into it, and I thought it was going really well. It looked pretty good. Everything was smooth about factions. As it turns out, in a UHC community, nobody wants to play factions, so I loaded up the world like once or twice, never played it again. D tier, despite the effort and the quality of it, didn't play it, wasn't worth playing. Ultraviolet survival games. Okay, so Ultraviolet survival games was, I took a map from online, like a relatively popular map that I don't remember the name of. It was like Seaside or something maybe. No, that doesn't sound right at all. Okay, whatever. And it was just survival games, but this is the first time I was able to make random loot tables. So I just used like the mob spawner / dungeon loot table, and I just made it to have Hunger Games items in it. And you could just play Hunger Games or survival games, I guess. I don't know, there wasn't really anything special about it. It doesn't stand out to me as much as the Xbox One Edition / Xbox One Editions, but it was super functional. And there's a kill tracker and stuff. But it was like you would run the game once and then you would reset the world. Yeah, probably B tier. I liked it. Most people didn't really want to play it, but we definitely played it more than some of these other ones. Ultraviolet Sky Wars. This was the same thing as Hunger Games, except with Sky Wars. There was one map. It was terrible. Yeah, random loot tables, but they were pretty much the Hypixel loot tables. I think I had the Slime Ball Knockback 10 in there, even though it got removed from Hypixel, just because I liked it so much. But yeah, people didn't really enjoy it. We didn't play it that often. Pretty straightforward again, but not on the level of Hunger Games, so probably C tier. Ultraviolet Speed UHC. Okay, now this is where things get interesting, because I never finished Speed UHC. You can ask people, I never finished it. However, had Speed UHC been completed to the level I was working for, it would have been the greatest game, probably second greatest game I ever created after Uhc Champions. And that was because Speed UHC, again modeling after Hypixels, had so much involved with it. especially coming like 2 eras behind Hypixel UHC. Like it was the Ultraviolet era, the Fusion UHC era, and then Hypixel UHC. It was like 2 years behind in creation, but it had so much stuff done to it. Like the kits, they worked great. The spawns worked great. The game worked great. Everything about it was so functionally well done. The kill tracker, overall, if it had been completed as far as like the cosmetics and the actual gameplay goes, it would have been great. I even had a system where the map would reset by itself after the match was over. It just caused some lag because it cloned an entire different arena over. But it was great. Like, it was phenomenal for what it was. And I wish it had been done. But still definitely A tier. It would be S tier, no doubt, if I was able to complete it. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. So, yeah, it's A tier. I wish I'd been able to finish. That's all I can say about it, really. Other than it was super fun and it was a great project had it been done. Ultraviolet UHC Deathmatch. Okay, this was pretty much just like a meetup. I don't remember much about it, if I'm honest. It was pretty much just like a meetup, except my first attempt at making meetup on Bedrock Edition rather than Xbox One Edition, because Ultraviolet UHC was like my first UHC. The kits were semi-balanced, especially in comparison to the other meetup I talked about. I don't know why it's called Deathmatch. It was just a regular world with barrier blocks or bedrock around it. I don't remember. And you would just have your kit and you would go fight people and kill them and try to be the last person standing. It was good, I guess, but I mean, like, it doesn't compare to some of the other things on here, and it definitely wasn't played as much. I wish I had seen how much I hosted it. Like, if I hadn't gotten rid of the Ultraviolet UHC server. That's really what it's about. I should not have gotten rid of that Discord server. That hurts me sometimes. Alright, so the last thing officially on here, like I have so many other games I've created through the years that I just didn't remember to put on here. Ultraviolet UHC. This was my first attempt at creating UHC ever. This era of UHC had its ups and downs, but I must say this is the only era of UHC that had 30-player full maximum games. Like, Fusion UHC didn't reach that level. Hypixel UHC didn't reach that level. Ultraviolet UHC reached that level. UHC was massive. Exnostorio had recently played, and everybody wanted to play. And becoming a host was really easy. It was the best era. I got in at the exact right time. Because after this, people like Savage Run 08 and Tan the Cat started hosting, and like What a Rice, whoever that is, he started hosting, and they didn't have the success level. Rice actually did, if I'm honest. He did really well. But Ultraviolet UHC was like my pioneer. Like it wasn't Azafai's UHC. But when it was at its peak, it was incredible, and I don't know. I had a lot of fun. It was the greatest era of UHC as far as players go and experimenting goes and solving command issues and stuff goes. This is what helped me figure out commands. Nothing else did what Ultraviolet UHC was capable of doing. And I'm gonna be weird here, and I'm gonna put it in S tier, just because like you can't compare what Ultraviolet UHC did for me to anything else. It might not have been as great as UHC Champions or even Fusion UHC, but the player count and the absolute creation development that went into it was unlike anything else. And I wish that era still existed, but alright, I think that just about concludes the video. This is the final rankings. We have UHC Champions and Ultraviolet UHC in S tier. We have the one Hunger Games map and Amazing and Nostalgic. Fusion UHC, Hypixel UHC Deathmatch, Ultraviolet Speed UHC in the A tier. And then we have some assorted games. I don't want to go through them all one by one because you guys just watched the whole video on them. But the only games that like I really just, I don't know, Amplified UHC, Craft of Clans, and Kit PvP 1, garbage, to be honest. No other way to put it. I might have some like mental rearrangements here and there, just like now that everything's been rated, but I think everything's fine where it is. If you guys disagree, let me know in the comments. Let me know, what your guys' favorite game mode was, what you would have in S tier, whatever you guys want, really. Put anything in the comments, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope your 2022 is going to be great, and if you want to, catch me on Twitch after the 16th at twitch.tv/themaplemango. See you guys later. Bye.
She said I hate my day job, I don't feel it, I need race car, top down to match my ceiling.